สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. So I've been waiting for mango season to arrive all year so I can finally share this recipe with you. It's one of the best desserts out there after mango and sticky rice, of course. And there's no baking involved, uses only 5 ingredients. It's a Filipino dessert called Mango Royale, which is a frozen mango cream pie. It will impress your guests and it's essentially foolproof. Let's get started. So I was first introduced to this dessert by Chef Isa Fabro, who is a Filipino-American chef who's known for her sell-out Mango Royale pop-ups. So this recipe is based on her. So we're gonna first make the crust, which is a graham cracker crust, but not your average kind. This is brown butter graham cracker crust, which is infinitely better than the regular one. I can just eat the crust on its own. To make the brown butter, we first are just going to melt some butter. So you want to keep the heat sort of medium low. You want this to happen slowly so it doesn't catch you off guard and then burn. So in the beginning, you're going to notice it's starting to bubble. Looks like it's boiling. What's happening is the water content in the butter is boiling away. And there's going to be all this foam, which is totally normal. And I like to keep stirring to prevent the milk solids from sticking to the bottom because you want all that milk solids in the crust. There we go. So once the sizzling starts to slow down, that means that most of the water is gone. And what's going to start to happen now is the milk solids, which are these little bits that you see there, are going to start to brown and toast and develop a beautiful nutty aroma, which is the whole point of brown butter. This is why the French calls this beurre noisette, which means hazelnut butter. What you're looking for at this point is for the milk solids to turn dark brown. We don't want golden brown, we want dark brown. It should look like you've almost burnt your butter, and that's how you get intense nutty aroma. That is what makes all the difference. You can't really see it, but when I stir really quickly, I see the bottom of my pot getting pretty brown now. So to look through the foam, see, you kind of have to really stir it. Now I know this looks like, wow, that's really brown. A little bit more. And the foam will start to subside. There we go. You don't want to go anywhere now. This is any moment now. Okay, I'm going to call it a day just because I don't want to burn this on camera. And then immediately into your graham cracker crumbs. See all this? That is the good toasty stuff right there. I've seen it even darker than this, but I'm a little paranoid. Now just mix all of that in. Oh, and the smell of this. And graham cracker crumbs you can buy as crumbs, or you can just buy graham crackers and then blitz it in a food processor. It's all the same. If you don't have graham crackers wherever you live, digestive biscuits would probably work okay. Any sort of like semi-sweet biscuits. That's it. Oh, it smells so good. This smells so good. I just want to call it a day and just eat this. And you don't say that with a non-brown butter graham crust, I'm telling you. Now we're going to put the crust into our pie plate here. More commonly, you see this done in like a cake pan, but Chef Fabro uses a pie plate, which I love the idea because you get the extra crust up the side and it looks nicer too. I've sprayed the pan with nonstick spray. And then because I'm traumatized by the first time I made it and I didn't do anything with the pan and had a heck of a time getting it out, I'm also going to put parchment on the bottom, which will guarantee that it'll come out easily. The parchment isn't totally necessary, but the spray is. Now, you want to put about 2/3 of this crust mixture into the plate, just roughly. It doesn't have to be exact. And feel free to use other kinds of containers too. There's no baking involved, so really, you can do this in anything. And just press it. Work the sides first because you want to make sure you've got all the sides covered. And then I always go to the corner here and push it because it's always thicker than you want it to start. Press down the bottom. And if you need to, you can take more from your stockpile and add as needed. It doesn't have to be. The division is not exact. And that's it. Now this just has to chill in the fridge while we do other things. So let's take a break to thank our sponsor, and if you're a coffee lover, you're gonna love this one. This is Javi. It's a coffee concentrate that you can just add to your liquid of choice and make all the coffees that your coffee shop can make. I love me a good latte, but I don't have space for an espresso machine, so if I want one, I gotta go to a coffee shop, which is very expensive, as we know, and they rarely make it exactly how I like it anyway. Javi changes everything. Let me show you how I use it. I use whole lactose-free milk, which is not available in coffee shops here, and I just add a couple teaspoons of Javi, and that's it. And get this, I can just give it a taste, and if I think, oh, it needs a little bit more, add a little bit more, and infinitely fine-tune this coffee so it will taste better than a $5 latte. You can even make a Vietnamese-style coffee by adding some condensed milk to a cup, add a little Javi, and then some hot water, et voila. So if you love coffee, give it a try and you can get 25% off your order using the link in the description below and my code Pailin's Kitchen. Now, the mango. This pie is so simple that it's only going to be as good as your mango. So you want sweet, ripe, juicy, the best of the best. This is not a pie to make out of season, okay? To be authentic, you want to go with Manila mangoes, also known as Ataulfo mango or champagne mango. But if you don't have this variety, you can use another type as long as it's sweet, juicy, ripe, and delicious, and err on the side of overripe. If you've got wrinkly mangoes, mangoes with dark spots, that's great because once it's cold, the flavor will be dulled a little bit. So I'm going to cut the cheek off of the mango. If you angle your knife towards the seed, you'll always feel the seeds and you get all the flesh off. Now, I'm going to just score the flesh into chunks, about this big. Don't cut through so deep that you slice your hand, by the way. And then I'm going to just use a spoon, a Thai spoon is great for this, and scoop out the flesh into a bowl. And scrape off anything close to the skin, but not too close, because if you get too close to the skin, it does get a bit bitter. And with the seeds, you don't want to waste any of this meat. Peel that off, and then, but don't slice too close because it can be a little fibrous close to the seed. But if you've got kids around, like when I was little, my mom always peeled mango, left a lot of this, and then this is our snack and quality control. So good. And now with my hand, I'm going to squish, squish, squish. It's very satisfying. And what you're going for is sort of a half puree, half chunks. So like mango chunks are sitting in luscious mango sauce. That's the texture we want. Almost there. And that's pretty much where I like it to be. I know I said there are only 5 ingredients, but there is an optional 6th ingredient. But what you want to do first is taste this mango. You want to QC this mango. And if it feels like it could use a little acidity to brighten it up, you can go ahead and add some lime juice, which is very hard to squeeze with my left hand. Now, one more taste. Now it's good. Okay, our last 2 ingredients are going into a condensed whip, which is basically whipped cream sweetened with sweetened condensed milk, Asia's favorite dairy product. So I'm gonna put this into my bowl here. And then cold whipping cream, and cold will help it whip up better. Now you want to slow whip this using medium or medium-low speed, because if you go fast, you create lots of really big air bubbles, which will make the cream less stable. You can think about one of those aerosol whipped cream where it's like the flimsiest whipped cream in the world. That's because it's done so fast, and so we want the opposite of that. I know I said this recipe is essentially foolproof, but there is one opportunity for a screw up, and that is if you over whip the cream. What happens is the cream will curdle and turn into basically butter, and you will have to start over again. So once your beater starts leaving a clear trail in the cream, that means the cream is really thickening now, so you start to have to pay attention and watch out when to stop. To check doneness, what we're looking for is for the cream to be able to hold its shape against gravity. So if you lift your beater, this is clearly not resisting gravity. Keep going. Getting a little close, but it's still a little bit droopier, like it's, than I'd like. So I'm gonna keep going. Yeah, I think we're pretty much there. See this? It's staying. I can shake my beater a little bit and it's holding shape. We're pretty much there. If you want, you can sort of finish it by hand or on low speed just to get that little extra stability. And stop. We're done. Let's assemble. The crust is chilled. Here's the fun part. We're gonna build this pie, build the mango royale by first going down with a layer of cream. And I wanna get this about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch thick. Oh, it looks so fluffy, like clouds. I want to dance and roll around in this fluffy cream. And then a layer of our luscious mango sauce. Okay. And now a sprinkling of our remaining crust. And you can go as heavy-handed or as light as you want here. Totally customizable. About that is good for me. And don't feel the need to use up everything. I made enough so that you'll probably have a little bit extra if you're using this kind of pie plate, but if you're using a deeper pie plate, you will have enough to fill that as well. And anything left, you can make a tiny little one for yourself. Then we repeat. One more layer of mangoes. This is when it starts to look really good. Perfect. And now a final layer of crust. And this one is decorative now, so make it look the way you want it with the crust. And that is it. How cool does that look? Oh, that's messy right there. That's okay. Turn it this way and you didn't even see it. Now, this is a frozen pie, so we'll need to freeze this for at least 8 hours, basically overnight. And the best serving temperature is when it's sort of a little bit thawed, so it's not so hard. And so an hour before you want to serve, you can bring it out to room temperature, or you can thaw it overnight in the fridge. So here is one that I made yesterday. Hopefully it's at the right cutting temperature. And with my little extra, I made a little parfait. Here we go. Oh, that's good. Knife is slicing through, but it's firm. If you do it straight from the freezer, you have a really hard time going through the actual pie. First piece is always hard. Oh, here we go, here we go. Dun, 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 dun. It's perfect, look at that. The perfect ratio of mangoes to cream to crust. Oh my God. Let's eat it. So excited. Woo-hoo. So good. It's so refreshing and light, but that crust, once you get to that crust, it's like you got buttery, nutty from the brown butter that absolutely makes the dish. Oh man, that is so good. And I made it so that it's not very sweet. So you can really, enjoy the taste of the mangoes. It's not overpowering. The cream is just nice and light. And as I said, because it's cold, the flavor of the mango will dull slightly. So it's extra important that you have very sweet, very ripe mangoes. You can also serve this with a side of little fresh mangoes as well. So the recipe, as always, will be on hotthaikitchen.com. Definitely send me a photo of this when you make it. It's such a beautiful thing. I'd like to thank our Patreon members who help support the show. And if you want to know what that's all about, join our community of Thai food lovers and watch my videos ad-free. You can check out all the details in the description below. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you next time for your next delicious adventure.